that is La Belle Dame Sans Merci. It is in a French language. The title is La Belle Dame Sans Merci, which means the beautiful lady without mercy. The poem has been written by John Keats, who born in 1795 and died in 1821. I am Assistant Professor Khandijod. Today we are going to learn this poem. So we can see here image of John Keats. So first of all we are going to see the introduction of poet, about poet John Keats, who born in London, who is known as the Romantic poet, whose most remarkable career of any English poet. He published only 54 poems in 3 slim volumes and a few magazines. In an early age, he died because of a disease. His imagery is colorful and sensuous, and his words, paintings are remarkable. His writing qualities are given here. His imagery in writing, so much colorful, and words are paintings which are remarkable. He was influenced by Spenser, Shakespeare, and Milton. Keats' poetry blends the romantic with philosophical. Means his poetry is well known in the Romantic age. He is a key figure of the Romantic movement. In English literature, there was a Romantic movement. Who was key figure? He was key figure in the English literature. About poem, La Belle Dame Sans Merci is written in the form of a ballad. A ballad means, ballad is a genre of poetry. It is a kind of poetry as well as it is a short poem or a song which tells a story through dialogue. As in many ballads, the poem tells a story that is both mysterious and dramatic. Means ballad means it is a kind of poem, a story which tells a story through the dialogues. This poem means in a ballad it is a mysterious and dramatic. So many ballads are there which are mysterious and dramatic. It is which tells a story in the poem. The poem La Belle Dame Sans Merci, the structure is given here. The poem is open to many interpretations. It has 12 stanzas. First 3 stanzas are the questions and the remaining stanzas are the answers by the night. First 3 questions are given here as the stanzas which are asked by the poet, and the remaining stanzas are answers by the knight. Knight means soldier, but it is a head of the troop, a head of a soldiers. The first 3 verses, stanzas, ask question. The answers contains the story of a knight who met an otherworldly lady. Now here summary of the poem. In the first stanza, first 3 stanzas, the poet does indeed appear as a third person narrator. Poet here we can see as a third person narrator in the first 3 stanzas. Questions by the speaker as a poet. First stanza, oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, alone and palely loitering? The sage has withered from the lake, and no birds sing. It is a question by the speaker, the poet. Stanza 1's explanation is in front of us. The poem begins with a question which it will proceed to answer. The question is asked by the poet and addressed to a knight at arms. The question is, what can ail thee? Means Ill means to make sick, to make weak. The knight is both alone and palely loitering, means he was literally pale, means so much weak, and loitering, he was in an unconscious mind, and he was just wandering uh, that place. The place is here. The landscape is also pale. How the sage has withered from the lake. It is the lakeside where the knight was palely loitering. The lake is also sage and withered from the lake. Means the climate is so much pale, so much negative, so much depressed, and no bird sing there, no bird are there. Stanza number 2. Oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, so haggard and so woe begone? The squirrel's granary is full, and the harvest done. Stanza 2. Explanation is here. Again, a sentence, a line is repeated in the second stanza, that oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms. The first line of the poem is repeated to become the first line also of the second stanza. The knight's unhappy predicament is emphasized by calling him both haggard, means he is tired, and woebegone, means he is depressed. The winter aspect of the landscape is shown in the squirrel's granary, means the season is mentioned here, that winter season, which is not happiness, it is mm, uh, nature is not full of greenery. The granary and harvest provide images of abundance against the granary and harvest provide images of abundance against which the knight's desolation, means is completely nervous, is measured, his nervousness. Next stanza. I see a lily on thy brow, with anguish moist and fever dew, and on thy cheeks a fading rose, fast wither too. Stanza number 3. This stanza concentrates on the knight's physical appearance. Here we can see the knight, how he was in a bad condition at the side lake, which is associated with the dying and with the flower imagery. Here two flowers are mentioned, which are as an image in the stanza. First one is lily and second one is rose. The lily is a traditional symbol of the death. In those foreign countries, the symbol of death is lily, while the rose is traditionally an image of beauty. Here we can see contrast between this between between two lines. I see a lily on thy brow, means the poet says that I have seen lily on his eyebrows, means he is completely nervous, completely pale, with anguish moist and fever dew on his forehead. The poet has seen that fever is and some dews, that sweat on his forehead, and on thy cheeks fading rose. If we you have observed rose, that is a red color, image of beauty, but his cheeks like rose, but it is fading, so much faint, fast wither too, means it is getting so much dull by dry. Images appropriate to the knight's predicament, the moisture and the dew, or perspiration, means sweat on his forehead, suggest the knight's misery, his anguish, means his stress, the causes of which the poem will explain, is also introduced. Now here the answer by knight. First three stanzas by poet, now answers given by the knight. I met a lady in the meads. In the picture we can see, I met a lady in the midst, full beautiful, a fairy child. Her hair was long, her foot was light, and her eyes were wild. Now the knight is describing the lady where he met that lady in midst. Stanza number 4. The narrator changes. The knight is giving answer. The knight takes up the story. He will provide an explanation of how he became the way the first narrator, the poet, found him, introduces the belledame of the title and emphasizes her beauty, calling her a fairy child. Means the knight saw the lady, when the knight saw the lady, he completely in her beauty is calling her fairy child, introduces the supernatural element into the poem. Calling her eyes wild introduces an element of danger into the poem. Here we can see two images that are full beautiful, and in the last line her